A little girl lost in the deep wilderness with no one to save her. Everyone feared she wouldn't make it. Wolves, freezing nights, and hunger surrounded her at every turn. But when a massive grizzly bear appeared out of nowhere, what happened next left the world speechless. This is a story of survival, trust, and an unbelievable bond between human and beast. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and turn on notifications to hear more real, heartwarming, and shocking stories like this. The wilderness stretched endlessly, towering trees, winding rivers, and an unforgiving landscape that few dared to explore alone. For 8-year-old Emily Carter, it had been just another camping trip with her parents. A family weekend deep in Yellowstone National Park, filled with campfires, hiking trails, and stories under the stars. But no one could have predicted that, within a single moment, their peaceful trip would turn into a nightmare. Emily had vanished. 1 second, she was by the river collecting smooth stones. The next, she was gone. Her parents, Michael and Laura Carter, had turned their backs for only a minute too long. When they looked back, their daughter had disappeared into the forest. Panic hit them like a punch to the chest. Emily. Laura's voice pierced the trees, desperate, terrified. Michael ran toward the river, eyes scanning the ground, searching for tiny footprints. Nothing. Only silence. A silence so unnatural it made the hairs on their arms stand on end. Within an hour, the park rangers were called. Within 3 hours, search teams flooded the area, shouting Emily's name, combing through every rock, every trail. Night fell. The temperatures plunged, and with it came fear. She was just a little girl, alone in one of the most dangerous places in North America. Wolves, cougars, the freezing cold, and worst of all, bears. Yellowstone was home to hundreds of grizzlies, some weighing over 800 pounds, ruling the forests with their sheer strength. If Emily was still out there, would she even survive the night? The world was so much bigger when she was alone. Trees loomed like giants. Every crack of a branch, every gust of wind sent shivers down her spine. Emily had wandered off chasing a butterfly. She had wanted to show it to her parents, but when she turned back, they were gone. She had tried calling for them, but the more she walked, the deeper she went. And now, darkness had swallowed her whole. Her tiny hands clutched the sleeves of her jacket. She curled up under a fallen log, trying to keep warm as the night crept in. She whispered to herself, "Mommy's coming. Daddy's coming. Just hold on." But she didn't know that something else was already watching her. A shadow in the trees. Something massive. Something wild. A grizzly bear. She had never felt so alone. The forest was silent, but not in a comforting way. It was the kind of silence that hid things, things that watched. And then she heard it. A deep, heavy exhale. Her breath caught in her throat. She turned her head slowly. And that's when she saw it. A massive grizzly bear stood just feet away. Emily had seen bears before, from far away on camping trips, in picture books. But this was different. This bear was alive. Its eyes locked onto hers, glowing faintly under the moonlight. Its chest rose and fell, each breath deep and slow. It was watching her. Emily froze. Her heart hammered. She remembered what her dad had told her about bears. Never run. Never scream. Stay very, very still. But how could she not run? How could she not scream when this giant, untamed beast could kill her in an instant? Her tiny hands gripped the log beneath her. She didn't blink. Neither did the bear. A terrifying standoff between a little girl and the most powerful predator in the forest. Then the bear took a step forward. Emily's breathing became shallow, her lips quivering. Was this it? Would she be found tomorrow, her parents sobbing over what little was left of her? Her body tensed. She had to do something. Then, without thinking, she did the one thing no one would ever believe. She closed her eyes and whispered, "Please don't hurt me." Her voice was barely there, a soft plea into the night. And something incredible happened. The bear stopped. For what felt like an eternity, the bear just stood there, breathing, watching. Then, as if deciding something deep within its instincts, it lowered its massive head and sat down right in front of her. Emily's breath hitched. The bear wasn't attacking. It wasn't even leaving. It was just there with her, a guardian in the night. Emily didn't move. Neither did the bear. They just existed in the moment, the cold wind whispering around them. And somehow, despite the fear, despite everything she had ever been told about bears, she didn't feel alone anymore. Somewhere deep, deep in the wild, a little girl and a grizzly bear had formed a bond no one would ever understand. And that was only the beginning. The night stretched on, the cold pressing against Emily's skin like icy fingertips. She huddled closer against the fallen log, but her small body wasn't built for the wilderness. Her teeth chattered. Her fingers felt numb. She had never been so cold. And then, a deep, steady warmth moved beside her. The bear. It hadn't left. It was still right there. And now, it was watching her struggle. Emily didn't know much about bears, but she knew this: they were supposed to be dangerous. They weren't supposed to care. But then something happened that defied everything she had ever been taught. The bear shifted closer and laid down beside her. Emily's breath caught. Her instincts told her to run, but her body was too cold, too weak. Instead, she did something she never thought she'd do. She reached out, slowly, carefully, and touched its fur. It was thick, coarse, and unbelievably warm. The bear didn't flinch. It didn't react. It simply stayed. Emily pressed her frozen fingers against its side, feeling the rise and fall of its breath, a steady, powerful rhythm, like a heartbeat. And as crazy as it seemed, she felt safe. The forest isn't kind to the weak. Morning came too soon. Emily stirred, her body aching, her stomach growling with hunger. She had survived the night, but she wouldn't last much longer. The bear stood, stretching its massive frame. Then, without hesitation, it began to walk away. Emily's heart sank. It had stayed with her all night, but now it was leaving. She wanted to call out, to beg it to stay. But what good would that do? It was just a bear. It didn't understand her. Did it? Then it stopped. Turned. And looked right at her. Emily swallowed hard. The bear wasn't leaving her behind. It was waiting. Emily's legs were weak, but she forced herself up. She had no other options, no food, no direction. She could sit here and freeze, or she could follow the one thing that hadn't abandoned her. So she took a step forward. The bear huffed, a low, deep sound. Then, it turned and kept walking. And Emily, for reasons she couldn't explain, followed. The forest wasn't kind. The trees twisted into unnatural shapes. The wind whistled through the branches like a whispering voice. Emily's stomach clenched tighter with each passing hour. She was hungry. So hungry. And worst of all, she wasn't the only predator out here. Somewhere, hidden between the trees, something else was watching. Something with sharp teeth. Something with yellow eyes. The bear might have been her protector. But now, it might have to become her savior. Emily's legs ached. Her stomach clenched in hunger. Her body shivered with exhaustion. She had been following the bear for hours, deeper into the unknown wilderness. She didn't know where it was leading her. She only knew one thing. It was her only hope. But hope wasn't enough in the wild. Because something else was out there. Watching. Waiting. Hunting. And it had just found them. The forest was too quiet. The kind of quiet that meant something was wrong. Emily could feel it. The bear could feel it too. It stopped walking, its massive body suddenly tense, ears twitching, nose sniffing the air. Then, a low growl rumbled from its chest. Emily's pulse spiked. She didn't see anything. But she knew. Something was there. And then? The sound of snapping branches. Emily's heart jumped, and before she could even think, it attacked. They came from the trees, dark figures, fast, silent, deadly. Wolves. 3 of them. Their eyes glowed yellow, their bodies lean and powerful. They weren't just curious, they were starving, and Emily was small, weak, easy prey. The bear knew it, and in that moment, everything changed. Before Emily could even scream, the grizzly roared. The sound shook the ground, rattled the trees, and sent a shockwave of fear through the air. The wolves hesitated, but they were hunters. They weren't going to back down without a fight. One of them lunged, fast, teeth bared. The bear moved faster. With one massive swipe of its paw, it sent the wolf crashing into the dirt. The second wolf circled, trying to flank. The bear spun around, blocking Emily with its body. The wolves snarled, snapping at the air. Emily couldn't move. She was watching a war unfold, a war she should have never survived. Emily's breath hitched. The wolves were relentless. If the bear lost, Emily wouldn't stand a chance. She had to run. But run where? She was lost, alone, and if she ran, would the bear still come for her? Or had she just lost her only friend? The choice was paralyzing. And in that moment, the decision was made for her. The grizzly let out one final, deafening roar. And the wolves ran. Vanishing into the forest. Defeated. Emily sank to her knees, gasping for air. She had never been so close to death. And she had never been more certain this bear wasn't just an animal. It was her guardian. Emily sat in the dirt, her legs trembling, her breath coming in short, sharp gasps. The wolves were gone, but the fear still clung to her like a second skin. The grizzly stood a few feet away, its massive chest rising and falling, still on edge. For the first time, Emily truly understood. This wasn't just an animal. This bear had protected her. But why? Bears weren't loyal like dogs. They weren't supposed to care. So why had it risked its life for her? Emily wanted to believe it was something more. But the truth was, in the wild, nothing came without a cost. As the bear turned to move, Emily's stomach dropped. A deep, jagged wound ran across its shoulder. One of the wolves had gotten in a bite. Blood dripped onto the dirt. Emily's heart ached. Without thinking, she whispered, "You're hurt." The bear grunted but didn't stop moving. It was acting normal, as if the injury didn't exist. But Emily knew better. She had seen injured animals before. If a bear couldn't hunt, it wouldn't survive. She couldn't let that happen. But how do you help a bear without getting yourself killed? Then she did something no one would believe. She stepped forward. Slowly. Cautiously. The bear stopped walking, its head tilted slightly, watching her. Emily swallowed her fear. And then she reached out. Her fingers hovered over the bear's wound, her whole body tensed, waiting for the animal to lash out. But it didn't. It just stood there, letting her touch it. A silent understanding passed between them. Emily didn't know what it meant. But she knew one thing. The bear was letting her in. And that changed everything. The bear needed help. And she needed to get home. They couldn't survive alone. She looked around, searching for anything that could help. Then she remembered her dad's survival training. Moss. He had told her once, moss has antibacterial properties. If you ever get cut in the wild, use it to stop infection. She didn't have medical supplies. But she had the forest. And now she had a reason to fight. Emily grabbed a handful of moss, pressing it carefully against the wound. The bear flinched but didn't attack. It let her help. And for the first time since she got lost, Emily felt like she had a chance. But the wild wasn't done with her yet. Because as the sun began to set, a new threat was coming. And this time, even the bear wasn't ready for it. The sun had begun to set, turning the sky into streaks of orange and deep purple. Emily had managed to treat the bear's wound, pressing moss against the gash the wolf had left behind. She didn't know if it would work. She only knew that she had to try. But in the wilderness, survival was never just one battle. There was always something worse waiting. And it was coming for them. The first sign was the wind. It picked up fast, howling through the trees, bending the branches like twisting fingers. Then came the smell. Smoke. Emily's stomach tightened in fear. She turned and froze. A massive wildfire was racing toward them. Flames licked the treetops, devouring everything in their path. The fire wasn't far. And it was moving fast. Emily's pulse spiked. She had to run. She had to get out. But how? She had no idea where to go. And then she realized. Neither did the bear. The bear sniffed the air, its muscles tensing. It had survived many dangers before. But fire? Fire changed everything. The flames roared, hungry and unstoppable. Smoke thickened the air, making it hard to breathe. Emily coughed, eyes stinging. She looked at the bear and made a split-second decision. "Follow me," she gasped, knowing the words meant nothing. But as she turned and ran, the bear followed. Emily's feet pounded against the forest floor. She ran blindly, not knowing where the fire ended. Or if she was running straight into it. Her lungs burned. Her legs screamed in protest. Behind her, she could hear the bear's heavy steps. Keeping up. Never leaving her. Behind them, the ground shook as a tree collapsed in flames, crashing just feet away. Emily screamed but kept running. There had to be a way out. There had to be hope. Then she saw it, a river. The water was rushing, deep and cold. It was their only chance. Emily hesitated, then jumped. The ice-cold water swallowed her whole. The bear didn't hesitate either, it leaped in after her. The current tore them away, pulling them downstream. Emily struggled to keep her head above water, coughing, gasping. The bear was beside her, swimming with powerful strokes. For the first time, Emily wasn't afraid of drowning because she wasn't alone. She reached out, her fingers brushing against the bear's fur, a silent reassurance. They were in this together. As the fire raged behind them, they let the river carry them away to whatever waited next. The river carried them far from the flames, twisting and turning like a lifeline through the wilderness. Emily clung to consciousness, her small body exhausted, her arms wrapped around the bear's thick fur as the current pulled them forward. She was barely holding on. But the bear, it was strong. And it was fighting for both of them. The river slowed. The violent rush of water turned into a gentle current, pulling them toward a rocky shore. Emily's fingers slipped. Her head dipped below the water. Then something pulled her up. A massive paw. The bear had her. With one final push, it dragged her onto the shore, collapsing beside her. Both of them lay there, breathing. Alive. But barely. Emily's chest ached as she coughed up water, blinking against the bright morning sun. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then Emily turned her head. The bear was watching her. And for the first time since she got lost. Emily smiled. Because she knew. They had survived. Together. Emily didn't know how long they rested there. Minutes? Hours? But then, a sound cut through the trees. A voice. Emily? Her heart stopped. She sat up, her breath catching in her throat. Mom? Dad? The voice came again, louder. Closer. She pushed herself to her feet, legs shaking. Tears blurred her vision as she stumbled forward. And then, suddenly, arms wrapped around her. Her mother. Her father. Sobbing, holding her like they would never let go. She was home. She had made it. But when she turned back, the bear was gone. The rangers said it was a miracle she survived. That no one had ever seen a grizzly act the way hers had. No one believed her story at first. A bear that had protected her. Saved her. Impossible. But Emily knew the truth. She would never forget the night it stood by her. The way it shielded her. The way it had dragged her from the water. She owed that bear her life. And though she never saw it again, she knew, deep in her heart, it hadn't forgotten her either. Because some bonds, no matter how impossible, can never be broken. If this story touched your heart, remember. Wild animals are more than just predators. They are survivors. Protectors. And sometimes, the most unexpected heroes. If you believe in the power of stories like this one, help us spread the message. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and share this with someone who loves the wild as much as you do. Because sometimes, the most unbelievable stories are the ones that are real.